The fire that refused to die. -60 degrees. That was the temperature on the night I should have died. The wind was not wind anymore. It was a blade. Every breath cut my throat. Every step stole warmth from my bones. The world had ended 3 months ago. No warning. No mercy. One day, the sky turned gray. The next, the power grids failed. Then the oceans froze at the edges. Cities died one by one. People changed even faster. Some became hunters. Some became prey. Some became worse than beasts. Before the endless winter, I was a rescue logistics officer. My job was simple. Keep shelters standing. Keep food moving. Keep people warm. I thought that skill would save lives after the world froze. I was wrong. The first group I saved robbed me. They took my fuel. They took my food. They took my winter boots. Then they pushed me into a snow ditch and left me behind. I crawled for hours. Maybe 6. Maybe 10. Time means nothing when your fingers stop moving. At the edge of an abandoned roadside station, I found a broken wall. Behind it, there was a dying campfire. Not a real fire. Just a few red coals under the snow. Barely glowing. Barely alive. Just like me. I dropped beside it and laughed. Not because it was funny. Because there was nothing else left to do. Then I heard footsteps. 3 men came through the snow. They wore stolen furs. They carried crude blades. And they were smiling. One of them pointed at the dying fire. Look at that. The dead man found us a fire. Another looked at my coat. Take that too. He won't need it soon. I tried to stand. My legs failed. The tallest man walked closer. He kicked snow over the coals. Move. The last light of the fire began to fade. Then a voice sounded inside my head. Clear. Cold. Impossible. Ember Core detected. Host condition, critical. Final ignition available. Failure means death. I stared at the coals. My body was already dying. There was no safe choice left. So I pressed my bare hand into the fire. Pain shot up my arm. My skin burned. My blood felt like it was boiling. The 3 men froze. Then the coals exploded into golden light. Snow melted in a perfect circle. The wind stopped 3 steps away from the flame. Warm air rushed into my lungs. My fingers moved again. My heart slammed once. Then again. Then harder. The tallest man stared at the fire. What the hell is that? I pulled my hand out. The burn was gone. The man raised his blade. Kill him. Take the fire. I picked up a half-buried metal rod from the snow. My body was weak. My stomach was empty. But I had warmth now. And they had stepped into my circle. The first man rushed me. I moved sideways. Not fast. Just enough. His foot hit melted ice near the fire. He slipped. I drove the metal rod into his knee. The second man swung a hatchet at my head. I ducked behind the broken wall. His blade struck stone. Sparks flew. I grabbed a burning branch and shoved it into his face. The third man hesitated. That was his mistake. I took the fallen hatchet. Then I stepped forward. The fight lasted less than a minute. When it was over, all 3 men were down in the snow. I stood in the center of the warm circle, shaking. Not from cold. From anger. From exhaustion. From being alive when I should have died. The voice returned. Threat eliminated. Ember gained. Camp upgrade available. I looked at the broken roadside station. A collapsed roof. Half a wall. A cracked concrete floor. It was not a home. It was not even a shelter. But it was mine. Upgrade. The fire burned brighter. Heat spread across the ground. The broken wall shifted. Ice cracked. Wooden beams rose from the wreckage. Packed earth hardened under my feet. By the time the light faded, the ruin had become a small frost hut. Low roof. Narrow entrance. Fire pit in the center. And for the first time since the winter began, I was not sleeping in the open. I dragged the bodies away from the entrance. I took their weapons. I took their food. I took everything useful. In the old world, I might have felt guilt. In this world, guilt did not keep fire burning. I sat inside the hut and watched the flame. It did not flicker like normal fire. It pulsed, like a heart. That was when I understood. This fire was not just warmth. It was territory. It was power. It was law. Outside, wolves howled in the dark. I gripped the hatchet and smiled for the first time in months. Come on, then. I looked into the flame. You are not the only ones hungry. By morning, the storm had weakened. The cold had not. The sky was flat white. The world was silent. I stepped outside and checked the snow. The tracks of the 3 dead men were almost gone. But there were other tracks nearby. Small claw marks. Bird prints. and deeper marks farther out. Wolf. Maybe something worse. The Ember Core gave me my first mission. Secure food. Gather fuel. Expand the fire's protection. Simple. Brutal. Necessary. I had a hatchet, a bone knife, a damaged hide coat, and one warm hut. That was more than I had yesterday. So I hunted. The first creature I killed was an ice hare. It looked harmless until it opened its mouth. Its teeth were long and clear like glass. It lunged for my throat. I split its skull with the hatchet. The second was a frost crow. It tried to dive at my eyes. I threw the bone knife and pinned it to a dead branch. By noon, I had 3 hares, 2 crows, a bundle of frozen branches, and enough hide to patch my coat. When I returned, the campfire pulsed. I fed it meat, bone, fuel, and a few drops of blood. The flame turned blue for 1 second. Then the hut changed again. The entrance tightened. The roof thickened. A small storage box formed beside the wall. The fire pit sank deeper into stone. The warm circle expanded. 8 meters. In the old world, 8 meters meant nothing. In this world, 8 warm meters was a kingdom. For 3 days, I hunted near the hut. I learned the rules. Small beasts gave food. Protecting the camp strengthened the fire. And each time I absorbed ember, my body changed. At first, I simply stopped shivering. Then I could breathe cold air without pain. Then I could grip frozen metal without tearing my skin. On the 4th night, I found wolf tracks near the storage box. Not one wolf. A pack. They had circled the hut while I slept. Testing the warmth field. Testing me. The old me would have hidden. The new me studied the tracks. If I wait, they choose the time. I looked toward the frozen forest. So I choose it first. The frozen forest was colder than the open field. That should have been impossible. But it was true. The trees were black. Their branches were sealed in ice. The snow beneath them was hard as stone. Nothing moved. Nothing made sound. Except the wolves. I saw the first one between 2 dead trees. It was larger than any wolf I had known. Its spine was covered in jagged ice. White vapor leaked from its mouth. Its eyes were pale blue. The wolf lunged. I had already prepared the ground. A strip of hide lay under the snow. When the wolf stepped on it, I pulled. The trap snapped tight around its front leg. It fell forward. I drove the hatchet into its neck. Hot blood splashed across my face. For the first time, the blood did not freeze immediately. It turned into red steam. Then it sank into my skin. My bones burned. My muscles tightened. My ears filled with the sound of my own heartbeat. The world became sharper. I could hear snow sliding off branches. I could smell the rest of the pack. They were close. Very close. The second wolf came from the left. The third from behind. I ran. Not away. Toward the narrow ice ravine I had chosen earlier. The wolves followed. They were faster than me. But they were hungry, angry, confident. That made them predictable. One wolf leapt. I ducked under it. It hit the ravine wall and cracked a sheet of ice. The falling ice crushed its spine. Another wolf charged straight at me. I planted my spear against the ground. The wolf impaled itself through the chest. The impact nearly broke my arms. But I held. Then the pack leader appeared. It was twice the size of the others. A crown of ice grew from its skull. It did not rush. It watched me. I watched it back. The wolf understood danger. Good. That meant killing it would matter. It moved first. Fast. Too fast. Its claws cut my shoulder open. I staggered back. Blood ran down my arm. The wolf lunged again. This time, I let it bite the hatchet handle. Then I slammed a burning branch into its eye. The wolf screamed. I climbed onto its back. It threw itself against the ice wall. Pain exploded through my ribs. But I held on. I grabbed one of the ice spines on its back with both hands. Then I pulled. The spine cracked. The wolf twisted. I drove the broken spine into its throat. It collapsed beneath me. The forest went silent. I lay on the snow, laughing through broken breaths. For days ago, I had been left to freeze. Now I had killed a wolf pack alone. Not because I was chosen by a god. Not because I was lucky. Because I had fire. And I had decided never to crawl again. When I returned to camp, the Ember Core accepted the wolf bones. The ground shook. A flat ring of packed earth formed beside the hut. Stone markers rose from the snow. A weapon rack appeared. Then a crude forge formed under a slanted roof. Its fire was smaller than the main campfire, but hotter. I looked at the new structures and understood. This was no longer just a shelter. It was the beginning of a base. And in a dead world, a base was more valuable than gold. The people who gathered around the flame. The forge changed everything. Until then, I had survived with stolen tools. Now I could make weapons. Real weapons. Wolf bone spears. Iceback hide armor. Cold iron knives. The fire gave me warmth. The forge gave me teeth. That was when I found Mina. She was running across the snow with 3 men behind her. She had no weapon, no food, no proper coat. But she was clutching a leather bundle like it was worth more than her life. One of the men shouted, "Drop the tools." Tools. That word made my decision for me. I stepped outside the warm field. The men saw me and slowed. Their leader raised a spear. "This is none of your business." I looked at the bundle in Mina's arms. "What is in there?" She swallowed. "Bone needles. Tanning blades. A hand drill. I can work. Please." The men laughed. "She belongs to us." I raised my wolf-bone spear. Not anymore. They were not like the first 3 raiders. These men had fought before, but they were tired, hungry, and they did not know the ground. I did. The first fell into a snow pit. The second took a bone spear through the thigh. The third turned to run. I let him. Then an arrow hit him from the ridge. I had not seen the archer until the man fell. An old hunter stepped out from behind a dead pine. Gray beard, heavy bow, eyes like frozen iron. He looked at the corpses, then at my camp, then at the blue glow of the main fire. "That fire yours?" I kept my spear raised. "Depends who is asking." "Garen," he said. "Hunter, not a thief." Mina looked between us. "I am Mina. I can sew, tan hides, shape bone, repair tools." Useful. Both of them were useful, but useful did not always mean safe. I pointed to the fire. "You want warmth, you follow rules." Garen narrowed his eyes. "What rules?" "Work for food. Stand watch when assigned. No stealing. No attacking anyone inside the fire circle." Mina nodded immediately. Garen stared at me for a long moment. Then he gave a dry laugh. "Boy, you sound like you are building a town." I looked back at the fire. "No." I said it quietly. "I am building something that can survive one." The camp changed after that. Mina turned wolf hide into armor. Garen taught me how to read deeper tracks. Together, we found others. A boy named Jace, 12 years old, maybe 13. He was half buried beside a frozen wagon. His parents were dead beside him. He did not cry when we found him. That was worse. He only asked one question. "Is your fire real?" I knelt in front of him. "Yes." "Will it go out?" I looked at the blue flame in the distance. "Not while I am alive." Jace followed us back. 2 more survivors came the next day. Then 3 more. I did not accept everyone. One man tried to steal dried meat on his first night. I threw him outside the warm field. Garen asked if that was too harsh. I pointed at the storage box. "If he steals tonight, someone starves tomorrow." No one argued after that. The rules were simple. Work earns food. Guard duty earns trust. Thieves leave without supplies. Anyone who attacks another person inside the fire circle dies. Harsh rules. Clean rules. Rules people could understand. Soon, the camp became more than one hut. A shared furnace. A drying rack. A watch platform. A low wooden wall. Pit traps beyond the wall. From above, it still looked small. A few huts. A wall. A fire. But to the people inside, it was impossible. No frost on the floor. No corpses at the door. No fighting over scraps. For the first time in months, people slept. That was when Garen told me about the north. We were standing on the watch platform. The sky was dark. The fire glowed behind us. Garen pointed beyond the frozen trees. "There is a tribe beyond that ridge. Raiders. Worse." He spat into the snow. "Black Fong." Mina stopped working below us. Even she had heard the name. Garen continued. "They do not build. They take. Their chief is named Vorg." "What kind of man is he?" Garen's expression hardened. "The kind who thinks winter is a teacher." I said nothing. Garen looked north again. "He believes the weak should freeze. Old people, children, crafters who cannot fight, injured men, anyone who slows the strong." Mina's hands tightened around her hammer. Jace listened from beside the stairs. Garen lowered his voice. "Black Fong does not raid camps." He paused. "They erase them." I looked at our fire, then at the people sleeping around it. "Then they had better not come here." Garen gave me a tired smile. "Your fire is bright, run." So bright fires are seen from far away. They did not come that night. But another enemy did. Red Maw. He arrived at sunset with 14 raiders. Maybe 15. They wore stolen armor, carried axes, hooks, and spears. Their leader had a bear skull tied to his shoulder. Garen cursed when he saw him. Red Maw. You know him? He burned 3 camps. Took the young. Killed the old. Leaves one survivor alive so fear can spread. Red Maw stopped outside the wall and laughed. Nice little fire you have here. No one answered. He pointed his axe at me. Give us the fire. Give us the woman. Give us the food. Maybe we leave a few of you breathing. Mina's hands tightened around her hammer. Jace trembled beside the arrow rack. Garen looked at me. I stepped onto the watch platform. Did the last 3 camps beg? Red Maw grinned. At the end. I nodded. Then you already know how this ends. His grin faded. Kill them. The raiders charged. The first line fell into the pit traps. Screams tore through the snow. The second line tried to go around. Mina pulled the rope. A row of sharpened wolf bones snapped up from beneath the snow. Garen's arrows hit 2 men before they reached the wall. Jace missed his first shot. His second struck a raider in the leg. The boy froze in shock. Good. Again. The raiders thought our wall was weak. That was the point. They broke through the center and rushed in. Straight into the fire trench. Mina lit it. Blue flames rose in a curved line, cutting their formation in half. Red Maw roared and charged through the flame. He was strong. Stronger than any man I had fought. His axe shattered my first spear. His shoulder slam threw me against the wall. He laughed. You built a warm cage, boy. I wiped blood from my mouth. No. I drew the wolf bone knife. I built a slaughterhouse. I stepped back into the training circle. The fire behind me flared. My body remembered every wolf I had killed. Red Maw swung. I went under the axe. I cut his wrist. He kicked me in the chest. I rolled. He raised the axe overhead. I threw ash into his eyes. Then I drove the wolf bone knife under his ribs. He grabbed my throat. For 1 second, he almost crushed it. Then Jace fired. The arrow struck Red Maw in the ear. Not deep, not fatal, but enough. I twisted the knife and tore upward. Red Maw dropped to his knees. The raiders saw their leader fall. Their courage broke. By midnight, the fight was over. Some died. Some ran. Some threw down their weapons and begged. I did not forgive blindly. The murderers were executed. The forced laborers were watched. The useful were given work. The helpless were fed after the wounded. Garen watched me in silence. Then he said, You are not building a camp. I looked at the fire. The blue flame rose higher than before. No. The huts shifted. The wall thickened. A second furnace rose from the ground. The storage room expanded. A small barracks formed beside the training ground. The Ember Core spoke only once. Firebound village awakened. The people gathered around the flame. Hunters, crafters, children, wounded survivors. People who had stopped believing in tomorrow. Now they stared at the fire like tomorrow had a shape. Garen pointed toward the northern mountains. Your fire is too bright now. What does that mean? His face darkened. It means winter will notice. The beast that carried winter on its back. The storm began the next morning. Not snow. Not wind. A wall. The sky disappeared. The outer traps vanished under ice. The watch platform cracked. Even the village furnace struggled. People gathered closer to the main fire. No one said it, but everyone was thinking it. What if the fire failed? On the 3rd day, Garen climbed the wall and looked north. When he came down, his face was gray. Winter is walking. I followed his gaze. At first, I saw nothing. Then the snow moved. A shape rose from the white storm. Massive. Slow. Wrong. A bear. But no bear should be that large. Its shoulders were higher than our wall. Its fur was frozen into plates of ice. Broken spears stuck from its back. Human skulls were trapped in the ice along its shoulders. Every step it took turned the ground white. The flame beside me bent away from it. Can we run? Garen answered before I could. His voice was barely above the wind. No, that thing does not chase camps. He swallowed. It erases them. The frost-tightened bear roared. The wall shook. People screamed. Jace looked up at me. You said the fire would not go out. I placed my hand on his shoulder. Then I looked at the others. It will not. If we run, we die one by one in the snow. My voice carried over the storm. If we stay, some of us may die. But the fire stays alive. I raised the giant wolf spear. No one cheered. Good. This was not a night for cheers. This was a night for teeth, blood, and iron. The bear charged. The first impact shattered the outer wall. Logs flew like sticks. Our pit traps broke under its weight. Garen's first arrow struck its eye. The bear roared and turned. Mina's fire pots burst against its shoulder. Blue flame crawled across its fur. For a moment, it worked. Then the beast rolled in snow and crushed the fire out. It reached the first furnace and smashed it flat. The warmth field flickered. Cold rushed in. People cried out. I ran straight at the bear. My spear pierced its side. It felt like stabbing stone. The bear slapped me away. I hit the ground hard enough to see white light. Something cracked in my ribs. The world blurred. Then I heard Jay scream. The bear was moving toward the main campfire. Not toward the people. The fire. It knew. Somehow, it knew what mattered. Mina shouted my name. Garen fired again and again. Jace dragged a wounded man away from the fire. The bear raised one massive paw. If that paw came down, the Ember Core would be crushed. The village would freeze. Everyone would die. My body moved before my thoughts did. I threw myself between the bear and the flame. The paw struck me. Pain became everything. I heard bones break. I tasted blood. I landed beside the main fire. The bear lowered its head. Its breath froze the blood on my face. The Ember Core spoke inside my skull. Emergency ignition available. Burn beast essence. Burn host blood. Temporary overload. I laughed. Blood ran down my chin. You should have led with that. I grabbed a cold iron spear from the ground. Then I shoved my bleeding hand into the campfire. The flame turned white. Heat roared into my body. Not gentle warmth. A furnace. My broken ribs screamed. My muscles tore and healed. The spear in my hand glowed red. The bear lunged. I stepped forward. For the first time, I met it head-on. The impact threw snow into the sky. My feet sank into the ground. My arms nearly snapped. But I did not move back. I drove the burning spear into the old wound on its chest. The bear roared. I pushed deeper. One step. Then another. Then another. The spear punched through its frozen heart. The frost-tightened bear collapsed. The storm stopped. Not slowly. All at once. Silence fell over the village. The massive body lay in front of the fire, steaming. No one moved. No one breathed. Then the bear's frozen heart cracked open. Blue light poured out. Mina stumbled toward me. Ren, do not touch that. You are already hurt. Garen shook his head. That much beast blood could kill a man. I looked at the cracked walls. The wounded. The children. The people who had trusted my fire. I cannot stay just a man. Not if I have to protect this. I placed my hand on the frozen heart. The heart burst. Blue light flooded my veins. My vision went black. For a moment, I saw another world. A world before the endless winter. Stone towers. Flaming altars. Warriors with blood like fire. And a sky cracking open with white light. Then I woke on my knees. My wounds were closing. My breath no longer fogged in the air. The cold around me felt distant. Like a memory. The bear's bones broke apart into black stone. Its heart became a burning crystal. The Ember Core swallowed both. Then the village changed. The broken walls rose again. Not wood this time. Black stone. Thick. Smooth. Warm from within. The central fire stretched upward into a tower. A ring of heat spread across the entire settlement. The forge expanded. The barracks hardened. A new structure rose behind the fire tower. A stone altar, veined with blue flame. The Ember Core spoke. Blackstone Fortress awakened. The people felt it immediately. Their hands stopped shaking. Their lips regained color. Even the wounded breathed easier. Jace stared at his fingers. It is warm. Mina looked at the black walls. This is not a village anymore. Garen nodded slowly. He looked at me. No, this is a fortress. Beyond the wall, figures appeared in the storm. Survivors. Dozens of them. Maybe more. They had seen the fire tower. They came with empty hands. Broken sleds. Frozen children. Tools wrapped in cloth. Some carried weapons. Some carried nothing. They all stopped outside the gate. Waiting. Wondering if this fire was only for the strong. I looked at them for a long moment. Then I gave the order. Open the outer camp. Mina blinked. Not the main gate. No. We sort them first. Garen smiled. Mercy with a wall around it. Mercy without walls gets people killed. That became the law of Blackstone Fortress. Warmth was earned. Food was counted. Work was assigned. Crimes were judged. Children were protected. Crafters were valued. Hunters were trained. Warriors stood guard. And anyone who thought the fire made us weak was invited to test the wall. 3 nights later, a messenger came from the north. He wore black wolf fur. His face was painted with ash. Garen saw him and reached for his bow. Black Fong. The messenger stopped outside the warm field. He looked at our walls. Our fire tower. Our people. Then he laughed. Borg was right. No one answered. He raised his voice. Fire belongs to warriors. Not children. Not old bones. Not broken people. Mina's face turned cold. Jace clenched his fists. The messenger pointed toward the blood altar. Give us the altar. Give us the fire tower. Bend the knee, and Chief Vorg may let you keep your name. I listened from the wall. Tell Vorg something for me. The messenger smirked. What? Tomorrow, he will not have a tribe. Lord of the Ember. We marched before sunrise. Not as a mob. Not as frightened survivors. As a force. Garen led the scouts. Mina's armor protected our front line. Jace carried a bow at the rear. He looked older than he had a week ago. Every fighter wore bone plates and hide. Every spear had been measured. Every shield had been reinforced. Every torch carried fire from the tower. That mattered. The Black Fong tribe had more fighters. More axes. More years of killing. But they did not have order. They did not have a forge. They did not have walls. They did not have fire. And they did not have me. We reached their ridge by noon. Black Fong warriors lined the slope. Their camp was large, but ugly. Smoke leaked from broken huts. Old people huddled near dying coals. Children watched from behind torn hides. Crafters worked with chained wrists. This was not a tribe. It was a mouth that only knew how to eat. Chief Vorg stood before his hall. Huge, scarred, bare-chested despite the cold. A chain of beast teeth hung around his neck. He laughed when he saw us. You brought children and crafters to a war. I looked at our line. Mina stood with a hammer. Garen stood with his bow. Jace stood with his quiver. Behind them stood people who had once been called useless. Now they carried the future of the fortress. Vorg spat into the snow. The weak eat food. The strong take it. That is winter's law. I stepped forward. My voice was calm. No, that is the law of men who never learned how to build. His face darkened. He raised his axe. Black Fong charged. Our shield line locked. The first clash shook the ridge. Their warriors screamed like beasts. Ours moved like a wall. Fire pots flew. Archers fired. Spears braced. Shields opened and closed. Mina's reinforced armor stopped the first axe rush. Garen's scouts struck their flanks. Jace's signal arrows guided our second line. The old, the injured, the former crafters, the people Vorg would have left to die. They did not stand behind us as burdens. They carried arrows, dragged sleds, moved supplies, repaired straps, fed the fire pots, kept the line alive. That was the difference. Black Fong fought as hungry men. We fought as a fortress that had learned to walk. Vorg cut through 2 shields and came straight for me. Good. I wanted him where everyone could see. His first blow shook my arm. His second split the frozen ground. He was strong. Maybe stronger than Red Maw. Maybe stronger than any human I had met. But compared to the Frost Titan bear, he was only a man. He swung again. I caught the axe handle. His eyes widened. I crushed the wood in my hand. Then I punched him in the chest. His armor cracked. He staggered back. For the first time, fear crossed his face. What are you? I stepped closer. The man your world left alive in the snow. He drew a hidden knife and lunged. I broke his wrist. Then I drove him to his knees in front of his own fire pit. He looked up at me, bleeding. If you take in the weak, they will drag you down. I looked at the Black Fong camp. Old people hiding behind animal skins. Children with hollow faces. Crafters with scarred hands. Warriors who only knew hunger and fear. No, the weak are not the burden. I looked into Vorg's eyes. Men like you are? The blade fell. The Black Fong tribe ended that day. Not everyone died. The murderers were judged. The worst were executed. Those who followed out of fear were put to labor. Hunters were tested. Crafters were freed. Children were fed. The Black Fong stores were moved to the fortress. Their weapons were melted. Their ridge became our northern watch post. When we returned, the Ember Core was waiting. The fire tower burned higher than ever before. Blue flames spread through hidden channels under the snow. Across the ice field, smaller flames answered. Outposts, watch fires, hunting camps, work shelters. For the first time since the endless winter began, the snow was not empty. It was connected. The Ember Core spoke. Regional dominance achieved. Title unlocked. Lord of the Ember. Jace stood beside the northern signal tower. In his hands was a torch from the main flame. He looked at me. Will this one go out? I remembered the boy we found beside the frozen wagon. The boy who had asked if my fire was real. I looked at the signal tower, then at the line of people waiting below it. No. Jace smiled. Then he lit the tower. Flame climbed the stone. The northern ridge glowed blue against the white world. People cheered. Not because the winter was over. It was not. Not because we were safe forever. We were not. They cheered because, for the first time, the fire was no longer only mine. It belonged to all of us. That night, Mina found me on the wall. You are not celebrating. I am watching. For what? I looked beyond the northern ridge. The Ember Core opened a new vision in the flame. A map. Mountains beyond the north. Ruins buried under glaciers. Red marks moving in the white dark. And something enormous sleeping beneath the ice. The voice returned. Ancient Ember ruin detected. Higher frost zone awakening. Origin of endless winter, unknown. Mina saw the fire shift. Her face tightened. There is more. Yes. Garen joined us, bow in hand. There always is. Jace came last. He stood between us and looked at the distant dark. Are we going there? I looked down at him. Then at the fortress. The walls. The people. The fire that had started as a few dying coals. The fire that had refused to die. Yes. I gripped the blade carved from the Frost Titan bear's bone. If winter wants to swallow the world. Behind me, the fire tower roared. Then I will carry this flame to the end of it.